And now the Dolphins going with Jaylen Waddle, who I know you're very familiar with, working with Alabama. What can you tell us about this youngster?
Oh, I love the guy. I love everything about his physical skills. I love the fact that he has return ability. And I tell you, the other thing that I really like about him is his likability and his personality. He is going to be a core player for that football team and a very good player for their locker room. He's a smart player. So I know when Nick Saban really likes a guy and his assistant, Linda Leone, really like a player, that player is going to work out. So in this system where Brian Flores is also continuing to build his culture and what's important to him, I think this is going to be a perfect match in terms of Waddle to Brian Flores and Chris Greer at the Miami Dolphins.
Scott Pioli with us here on CBS Sports HQ and our watch party as we continue to watch things unfold from Cleveland on NFL Network. Thank you so much, Scott. The latest pick, the Miami Dolphins taking Jaylen Waddle. I know some Dolphins fans, Jamie, were hoping that maybe Pitts would slide there. If not, maybe Jamar Chase. But it's a pretty good consolation prize at number 6.
I mean, a lot of people have him as the second wide receiver. Clearly, that was the way he was drafted, and the Dolphins have a huge need. Again, you have to build around your young quarterback. And so the offensive line made more sense, Pete, to, address that, adding Sewell, Slater, all these guys that we talked about with the Bengals. But this is a team that needs playmakers. And so, they have guys coming back that opted out, and Albert Wilson and Allen Hurns, but they're not Jaylen Waddle. And so you bring in Will Fuller, a guy that stretches the field. Now you have a guy that can do it all in Waddle. You still have Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki. Even though you mentioned, Chris, that Kyle Pitts would have been a nice landing spot, or the Dolphins would have liked to have Kyle Pitts on their roster. But this is now a group around Tua and a receiver that he knows that now you have to see him take that next step as a quarterback. So this offense is coming into play, into shape. They still have to address the running back position because I don't think Myles Gaskin is the long-term answer. But they now have playmakers on the outside to help their quarterback grow, and now you have to see it happen.
This is TYREEK Hill. That's who this is. This is the dimension he's going to
There's only one TYREEK Hill.
Well, he's going to play a lot like TYREEK Hill. He's tough. He's physical. Remember, this guy broke his leg and came back and played in the championship game. Why he did that, who knows, but he did it. He is going to add a big element to the offense. I would have taken the offensive lineman. Again, there's only so many big people on the planet who can play offensive line and play it well. Penei Sewell was sitting there. I know they drafted linemen last year, but they had an opportunity to get Jackson and Sewell as your tackles, Kinley and Hunt as your guards. They would be, in experience-wise, 2, 2, 2, and 1. That's building a power line in front of your young quarterback. And one last thing, I gave this grade a B because I like Waddle a lot. Don't put him on the right side because Tua never gets over there to throw it to him.
Yeah, that's the question, Dave and Heath. You got Jaylen Waddle, this great toy, but how much do you trust Tua to get him the ball?
I've been studying what it takes for quarterbacks to break out, especially in their second season, and that's what's happening for Tua. And one of the keys is improving your intermediate passing accuracy and getting a new playmaker onto the team. And that's what's happening here. Jaylen Waddle, he can play at all 3 levels. Pete's right. He's got unbelievable speed. I love his explosiveness, his suddenness. He runs violently. He's not physical, but he's got great hands, and he can make big plays after the catch. He did that a ton at Alabama with his sweet feet. And I'm sure that's what the Dolphins are going to do. They're going to try and just create plays for Tua to find him open, throw him the ball, let Waddle do his thing. He is a long-term solution at wide receiver for the Dolphins. I'm not as excited about him as I am Jamar Chase. Chase I look at and I see as a top 24, top 30-ish type of fantasy receiver. Waddle's someone who's going to probably fall just outside of my top 36. There's a lot of good receivers this year, but someone who I still would be interested in drafting if he fell to me after round 7 or 8 on draft day.
Yeah, I've got Waddle at 41 in the very first initial run of projections, and I think you'll probably see him drafted higher than that, and you should probably draft him a little higher just because of the potential upside, but I don't know that Tua is going to just lock into one guy, and you do have Will Fuller there, you have Devontae Parker there, they'll both be healthy for at least 6 combined games. So early in the season, it might be a little bit rough for Waddle, but I do think long-term, again, you're looking at, he's not quite a top 12 dynasty wide receiver like Chase is, but he'll definitely be in the top 20, 25.
And they have the 18th pick coming up a little bit later. You think they go running back there, guys?
I mean, they could. That's probably not the best thing for their team, but it's certainly a need. Again, Myles Gaskin, not the lead running back that I think a lot of people are looking for. So it's on the table. But
they need
I'd be
pass
surprised.
rush. They need pass rush help, though.
Okay.
More than
losing
offensive
Illinois.
line, pass rush, and running back. But we've seen a lot of mocks where they go out and they take a running back.
Well, they're rumored to really like Najee Harris. That's the talk. They really like Najee Harris. He might not be there, but
we haven't checked in with Brady and Danny the last couple of picks. But guys, it's the top 2 wide receivers: Jamar Chase to the Bengals, Jaylen Waddle to the Dolphins. Brady.
Yeah, I think when you look at both these players, that's how I would have had them ranked based on Jamar Chase's season a couple years ago. And he's a guy that I think, and I don't know how you view him, Danny, but I view him as a guy that can play that X, that guy you want to isolate on the backside of a 3-by-1 set. He could run that route tree, but you can also move him around. He's versatile in what he can do. Someone asked me earlier today, like, why would he be the best of this class? I said, there's really no questions or concerns about him. If there was any concerns about how fast he is, I think he's answered those questions on film. You see him get by some of the faster cornerbacks and not have any trouble running past them downfield. So he was probably the more surefire pick there, but also when you combine the fact that he played with Joe Burrow, so he's naturally got chemistry with him. But Waddle's is the one that has that game-breaking speed. You know, Pete compared him to TYREEK Hill. I think he'll come into the league better than TYREEK Hill. I don't know that he's going to be as fast as TYREEK Hill. He'll be close, but he is more of a proven wide receiver. You've got to forget that TYREEK Hill took a couple years to really hone in on the wide receiver position, and then we were able to see what he's capable of. I think Jaylen Waddle will come in a little bit more ready, and also he makes sense for the Dolphins because they already had Devontae Parker, who is more of that X wide receiver. Now they've got Will Fuller. Now they've got Jaylen Waddle, and that scares the crap out of most defenses with all that speed who are going to play off the ball and get a running start.
I still think you've got this is the surprising thing to me is that neither team took Penei Sewell.
Right.
And you're talking about Joe Burrow coming off ACL, and we know Tua's long injury history. And I think this goes before we were doing our preview. We're talking about the premium quarterbacks and wide receivers, like the skill position, the sexy positions where everybody's throwing it all over the yard. It's like, yeah, we'll worry about offensive linemen later. That being said, I love the reunion of Joe Burrow. Like, Joe Burrow's already tweeting out, gifs of Jamar Chase at LSU and his jersey number, what it's going to be in Cincinnati. I do think he's the best receiver in this class, too. You had the physicality that you didn't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about him getting off the jam. He catches it in traffic. Great route runner. The speed is not an issue. And then Jaylen Waddle, I think, is a great option for the Dolphins, as you mentioned, because you cannot coach the type of speed that he has. And my favorite aspect of Jaylen Waddle was watching the national championship game and seeing people lose their mind. Why is he playing? Why is he playing? You know what? Because he's a competitor. Like, I want somebody with that type of intangible, and that's what I love about him.
Real quick on the Bengals, not going with Sewell there, and I know it's a little bit controversial, so maybe want to protect, Burrow. They don't have a big scouting department, and so their coaching staff ends up being a lot greater portion of what they do from a scouting standpoint. They've looked at a lot of this class as far as the tackle spot. There's some mixed reviews and a couple of offensive line coaches I talked to about Penei Sewell, his maturity, and then how much better he is in the rest of the class. This is probably a team that didn't have Penei Sewell ranked that much higher. They went with the guy they had a higher grade on. They feel like they can get a tackle to protect Burrow later on in this draft and potentially move Jonah Williams over or put that player at the right tackle spot and solidify both edges.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.